Hey guys, welcome to Sketch Today. I'm Spencer, and today we're going to be putting together a page of lighters. Actually, this page. But before we begin, I want you to hit that subscribe button, turn on alerts, and come say hi on the socials. I am at sketchtoday.com. You can also visit sketchtoday.com to sign up for my newsletter, where you'll get all the secret sauce and family secrets and all that good stuff. So go sign up for that. Now, today we're just going to be using marker paper and markers. Materials are in the description below, and it's a great way to support the channel here. So grab what you have, and with that, let's get started. Okay, we're going to draw a lighter. So what I need to do is think of the overall proportion of the object and just some quick highlights and shapes on this thing. And actually, let's go ahead and rotate this page and zoom in a little bit for you here. And we'll do a couple concepts on the page, maybe 3. So what I'm going to do is start by just sketching a rectangular form, something like this, in 3-point perspective, like so. And I'll even go ahead and draw through this object, this particular object, and do a quick perspective check and just make sure I'm reasonably okay here. And we can continue drawing a couple wireframes like so on the page. Here's another one. This will become part of our composition, and I'll do another one here, maybe something like this for our perspective. And you can draw through on these or just keep them nice and clean, whatever works for you guys as you're drawing, just like so. Let's go ahead and draw through on this guy. And drawing through means just drawing through the backside of the object and connecting those lines in a way that helps you understand what's happening with your design or your presentation. Maybe there's, even some additional concept or thing on the page that we could put here, maybe another one here, for example. But just to show you guys how we can quickly develop and present some concepts. Actually, I think this line needs to be maybe more like so. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak this top view sketch here. Now, in my very light research, it seems as though there are a few different ways to activate your lighter. You have lighters with a cap that flips back, so maybe I'll do that on this one. Have just a nice division here. We'll go ahead and round these edges. And I do want to show a little bit of translucency or transparency. So just drawing on the inside, a little indication of the straw in the lighter, maybe a little division here on the inside as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put a prominent hinge on this design. I like the idea of hinges being purposeful and integrated into design sometimes. So that's what I'm trying to do there on this particular design, just like that. So that's our first concept. And if we want, we could even pair these two sketches together with a quick background like so. And to combine these, let me move this line, add my hinge line there, some double lines for the thickness of the lighter. We have our division line like I had, and straw. And so now these two are similar concepts. So similarly here, if I want to have another design, I just need to use my wireframe sketch. This one will have a push button style of starting. So a couple little insets on this like so, and having the guide is awesome because by guide, I mean that under sketch that we had, because it does allow you to kind of just relax and approach your design process in a nice, calm, perhaps methodological, structured way so that you can think through things. All right, and we need a hole for where flame comes from, all that good stuff, and perhaps a little gap for this button, as it's meant to be pushed down. And I'm going to go ahead and slightly crown the backside and add some grooves or ridges for where your thumb would be as you're actuating this lighter and pushing down to then start your lighter. So little division here again. And I'm not quite sure rather, what the function of that is besides perhaps keeping two liquids apart or air, gas, something. But I'm just going off of, again, my somewhat non-existing, very light research, and we're just gonna roll with it. All right, so we've got a flip top lighter, and to show the flip top, let's just do a quick arrow here, like so, as part of the composition. So I sketched a portion of an ellipse, another portion of an ellipse, draw through and connect those, and now we have an arrow explaining what happens. On this guy, we can sketch another arrow. This time, this arrow is just pointing straight down like so. And on the final sketch on this side, I'm gonna do kind of your more traditional, I'm not sure what you would actually call it, but is it a wheel strike or something like that on the lighter, where you do have this large kind of large textured wheel, if you will, and that is used to create a spark to ignite your fuel and create the flame. Okay, so just like that. And I'm gonna fudge a little bit of that. My apologies for the background noise if you are hearing that. Can't quite tell on this video, but I am home with my kids, like many of you are, so I hope you understand, and we're doing our best to make this whole time and situation work. So on this sketch, let's go ahead, because I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'm just going to fudge a few things. If I had a little bit more time, I would go ahead and work out everything here, but let's use some line work just to show the texture and grip on this wheel here as it's mounted to our lighter, just like so, and make that nice and dark right in there. Okay, same thing, a little bit of a hole for our flame, perhaps a slot for air intake on the side, logo perhaps. Okay, translucent, some sort of cap or inside thing, and straw. We also have our liquid here, which in this case maybe I'll show a little bit of, so just a couple lines to show that. Actually, it's tipping this way, so I probably should have had the lines go like this, so I'm gonna fix that just like so. Don't worry about those other lines, it'll all work out. Okay, so nice and quick, and throw a drop shadow on the page here just with my hatch lines, and this is going to help me ground the concept on the page. All right, so now I get to pick colors. I can use greens, reds, whatever. I'm gonna use these awesome chart pack markers since they're super juicy and work pretty well. So I have some blue markers, reds, greens, and this should be enough to perhaps use in different situations here on the color. So let's start with the area that contains our fuel. I'm gonna just use this green to create an outline here. And when I do something translucent or transparent, that's kind of what I like to do, is shade in the corners. If you take a look at something that is transparent, you do get a bit of occlusion happening in the corners. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to do here. And now I'm just gonna shade over the whole thing with some gaps, you know, implying that there's some lighting stuff happening. Maybe on the bottom, I'm gonna go a little bit darker. For example, this face is a little bit away. So we'll just kind of shade in, make it work, something like this. Okay, and if there's a fluid or liquid in here, I'm gonna give this a minute to dry, and then we'll finish that out. And now let's go ahead and take this cool gray one, and I'm gonna use this to do the top. Little outline on the outside there, and then away from this corner, light until you get it right. Create a nice blend. Not quite the gray as after. Again, these chart packs are interesting because I feel as though the basic gray reads a lot more like a cool gray. So we'll use that on the next one. We'll roll with this for now. And if this were chrome or stainless or something, you would have kind of some streaks happening on the side, and perhaps a little bit of reflections as well. So we'll use a combination of pencil, and some marker here. So a little bit of a reflection, right? This hinge is going to be reflected back into this shiny surface. We're also going to get some gradation happening from the top down on these faces, and we may have some reflections happening as well. So to do that, I usually like to just put in a nice solid black region. We can shade that in with our pencil as well. I am using marker paper here, and it does make the pencil behave a little bit differently than it would on your regular copy or printer paper. So if you love drawing with pencil, I highly recommend trying out different papers and seeing what works for you. I personally don't like using pencil on printer paper. I think it looks kind of ugly, so, but that's just me. So try it out, see what you like, and then roll with it. All right, so that's probably as much as I'll do on this one for the chrome. Now that we're dry on the green, I'm gonna come in where the liquid would be on the inside. And this is basically just layering. So now that this is dry, I can come in like so and just fill this in, because this is where our fuel liquid is on this sketch. And if you need to show the thickness of the material that the fuel is being housed in, you can always come over the marker just where I've kind of backed off the edge, right? Just like that. And put in another line just to create a double line effect. Okay. Something that at least for me, it works, and I'm happy with the results. So you can try that double line approach. A little bit of shading here on this insert portion, and perhaps a bit darker on these occluded corners of the lighter. Okay, and that just means right in the bands where you have that transparent material or translucent material coming in contact with the other one, keeping that just a little bit dark rather, in those corners. Okay, so cadmium red for our classic push button lighter. Similar approach on the corners, just like so. Backside, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit this front corner like so, and maybe have a couple streaks in, just like that. Map out where, in this case, my liquid will be. We'll come back and revisit this one as well, just to make sure our corners are good, but that's how I'm going to shade this one. And let's use a basic gray this time, so I don't run into that problem, or I could just grab a Copic marker, cool gray as well. I'm just not a huge fan of the chart pack grays. I have had bad luck with how they blend. So if you have better luck or you have some tips, you let me know. Hasn't been the case for me. All right, and then for our button that we push down and actuate, I'm just going to use a dark gray for this. And dark gray is nice because I can also use a white pencil on top of that if need be. A little shadow in there, a little shadow in there, and shadow back here, inside, in these slots, just like so, and we are good. All right, so I've got this sketch, red's now dry, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit the front corner here with a little darker red. That was a life red. It's not dark enough for me. So let's try this. What is this one? Crimson. Still not dark enough. I need this brick red, which is what I'm gonna use, or ruby. So let's hit this corner, and I may have to still use a little pencil here. But as you're shading, you know, keep it loose, keep it sketchy. I think I was a little too tight on that first sketch, but that's okay. Go a little bit looser on this second sketch. And you can see that, well, hopefully you can see by adding the second marker color, it's very subtle, but I do have a nice gradation and color difference available in the sketch. And with the pencil addition, I now can bolster or reinforce the roundness of this front corner and do the same on the lighter up above. So really just carrying that stroke all the way through. If we need to enhance shadows and so forth, pencil's a great way to do that, but you want to do it after you've applied your marker, okay, not before, because then you're gonna come back and be mad at me, because you're not gonna enjoy that experience, I'll tell you that much. All right, I do have this white pen, so on these grooves that we added on the top, I'm gonna paint a little bit of white. You know, they're catching some light here, maybe on this edge as well, and these slots. So this is a Pitt artist pen. It's not the brightest white that you can get, or most opaque, but I do like how convenient and it is and easy to use. All right, let's do this last one now, and hopefully you guys are kind of seeing the process here and what's happening. For this one, let's go ahead and shade in where I think the fluid would be on the inside, just like so, and then I'll do the outside. Okay, so doing it this way, I'm able to immediately just kind of put in place where I think this lighter fluid should be, and then kind of work with that line. And that line just starts to go away once you start adding the other elements in your sketch, and you have those more prominent elements. You're not focused so much on the, or as much rather, on the mistake, but more on the overall appearance of things. Okay, so just some cool gray. This is a cool gray 3 that I'm using on the top surface here. A little bit of gray just to finish that out. Once this blue's dry, I'll hit the corners with some darker blues. Now, I didn't have as much luck picking these blues as I did with the reds, but I think we can still, in this case, use these blues for some of the corner occlusion that's happening. But as far as a hue family goes, I made the mistake of trying to buy these online, sight unseen, and so they're just not ideal, so to speak. I much prefer a more subtle blend when it comes to my markers. All right, so just a little bit of blue on the front here, like so. If you make mistakes, it's okay. You just learn to work with those mistakes. Like Tim Gunn of Project Runway fame says, make it work. And that's what we're doing here on Sketch-A-Day. All right, heavier lines, and you don't want to go too heavy, but to the point where it starts to look messy. That's just something you kind of have to do over time with practice. You know, maybe this has some sort of indicator. Not that you need it, because you can actually literally see how much fuel's in there, but it felt right at the time. Okay, a little bit of shadowing on the top, like so. Reflection into this surface, perhaps. And these are just little subtle things you can add to your sketch. I'm gonna put this portion in shadow, because I'm not actually sure what happens on a lighter in this area, so putting something in shadow helps you focus on the overall gesture of the thing and not so much on the finality and perfect presentation of that thing. Okay, so as always, if this is a concept, you'd want to add some notes, okay, to those portions of the concepts that are important. So that's what I'm trying to do there. We have the arrows to kind of help out as well. If you're describing motion or some sort of functionality, arrows are just a great way to kind of show what's happening. Okay. All right. Well, that's our sketch. And I hope you guys had a great time today. I certainly had fun. And I appreciate you being here. If you've made it this far, it means a lot to me, because I just love doing what I do here. Be sure to turn on alerts and subscribe. You don't want to miss when we go live. We also have a live show on Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific here on YouTube, where I stream and chat and hang out with you guys. So you don't want to miss that. And come say hi on the socials. I am at sketchaday.com. And you can also sign up for my newsletter at sketchaday.com, where you'll get a bunch of good stuff. All right, well, that's it for today, and we'll see you next time right here on Sketchaday.